Joining us now from Colombo is Anushka Wijesinha, a director of public policy think tank Centre for a Smart Future. Thank you for your time. So, Sri Lanka was already recovering from its worst financial crisis. Now, with these floods and landslides costing, according to estimates, $6 to $7 billion, how badly is this going to impact the economy? Will it be able to deal with it?
We are just coming to terms with the economic costs of the disaster, Marlene. We're still trying to cope with the loss of life and livelihoods. But, the economy has been on a better footing over the last year or so since the worst during the economic crisis of 2022. And hopefully that provides some temporary buffers to help absorb the shock. There are different estimates on the cost of the disaster, and none of them are verified at this time. We will know more in 2 weeks because the government has asked the World Bank and the UN to conduct a rapid damage assessment, which would give us better numbers. Even though the number of deaths are lower than the 2004 tsunami, the direct and indirect economic costs are likely to be higher this time because of the island-wide impacts, ranging from the hill country, agricultural lands, major industrial areas, and urban and semi-urban centres.
OK, that's an interesting point. We have seen major damage across roads, railways, dams, as you say, in almost every district across the country. Why was the infrastructure, do you think, so vulnerable to this scale of destruction?
So the cyclone brought rains of unprecedented proportions, Marlene. While we had already been seeing an increase in intensity of monsoons and flooding, climate change induced, in fact, we typically don't see cyclones of this severity in Sri Lanka. So the extent of the deluge this time, non-stop for 3 to 5 days on the back of rains that we already had in the week preceding, is what caused these damages. The authorities also had to suddenly raise the sluice gates of large reservoirs, and this caused sudden rises in water levels in rivers and downstream lands. I think it's also important to note that while Sri Lanka had been investing in a lot of new infrastructure, highways, ports, and so on, after the end of the war in 2009, we have paid much less attention to investing in climate resilience of this infrastructure and continuous maintenance.
And we've seen, as we saw in that piece, agriculture has been hit hard, paddy fields, vegetable, tea, across the board. What should people expect in terms of food prices, and what are the possible shortages in the coming weeks?
Yes, so I think, as you heard in the clip just before, there have been shortages and sharp rises of some categories of vegetables, of poultry products. Paddy land damages are also extensive, and the cultivation had just got started. The governor of the central bank has acknowledged that we are likely to see some uptick in food inflation. But in fact, Sri Lanka had been in a deflationary period for some time, and inflation has been quite subdued before the cyclone disaster. We'll need to see to what extent some of these price increases persist over the next few months.
OK, Anushka, thank you for your analysis. Anushka Wijesinha, Director of Public Policy think tank Centre for a Smart Future. Thank you.
Thank you.